Most Magento modules I review skip the repository pattern when they shouldn't. Direct collection calls in controllers, model loads in blocks, resource models everywhere. That's the number one architectural issue I see in this ecosystem. But here is what nobody talks about. After 16 years of building Magento, I've also learned there are cases where skipping it is the right call. Not laziness, deliberate. 3 cases where I use the repository pattern, 2 where I deliberately don't. All the examples are from real production code. Quick frame for anyone who needs it. In Magento, a repository is a class between your business logic and the database. It implements a contract, an interface with standard methods such as getById, save, delete, getList with search criteria. That's the whole pattern. Contract-based data access. Adobe's official guidance says to use repositories for every custom entity. And for the most part, that's correct. Most modules I review would be cleaner with one. Consistency, testability, API readiness, but after enough code reviews, you start seeing the edges of the rule. Cases where the pattern adds boilerplate without earning it. Cases where it actively fights what you are trying to build. 2 examples of that at the end of this video. Case 1. When I use it. A custom entity queried from multiple contexts with different filters. Here is a real example. Menu group entity in a client mega menu module. It's queried from 3 places: admin grid with pagination and sorting, an inline edit controller, and frontend rendering. All 3 need store filtering, but Magento stores need special handling. You can't just call add field to filter store ID, you have to call add store filter on the collection. Now let's have a closer look at the filter loop inside getList method. Every caller goes through this one method. If store ID comes in, the repository knows to call add store filter with the right second parameter. Every other field falls through the generic add field to filter. Without this, every controller, every block, every API consumer has to remember this quirk. 3 places today, 6 next time when the product owner asks for new filters. 3 things this gives me. First, search criteria compose fluently and admin grid gets pagination for free. Second, one place to optimize. When that grid gets slow, I add eager loading here, every consumer benefits. And 3, when product owner asks for the 6th filter, I add it in one class, not in 6 controllers. The pattern earns its boilerplate when multiple consumers need different slices of the same data. Case 2. When I use it. When a repository defines an architectural boundary that hides persistence details from a service layer. For example, an administration fee module. Custom fee attached to quotes, then copied to orders to submit. There is an observer that does the copy. The fee quote repository has one domain method. Find by quote. The caller of the repository is an observer, and it just says fee quote repository find by quote and pass quote object. Observer doesn't know the field that is quote ID, it doesn't know which resource model to inject, and it doesn't know how the load works. Now let's have a look at the line 113, find by quote, and line 143 that writes directly through the resource model. There is no repository for the save. That's deliberate. The save happens in exactly one place. Single caller, no reuse, no multi-context, wrapping it in a repository would be ceremony. So why repository on the read but not the write? Because the read crosses a boundary. The observer doesn't know about persistence. The write doesn't cross a boundary. The observer is the persistent logic for that moment. Repository pattern wins when there is a real architectural theme, not because entity exists. Case 3. When I use it. When the entity needs to be exposed over REST or GraphQL. Back to the menu group repository from case 1. It has a full interface, full search criteria, full preference wiring. To expose it as a REST endpoint, I need to write 0 new code, only config file. Here is web API configuration, 4 endpoints, getById, post for save, delete, and get for groups. Each one points to a method on the repository interface. That's it. Magento Web API layer reads param and return doc blocks on the interface, generates the JSON serialization, generates the deserialization via the auth. I wrote 0 serialization code. The repository interface is the API contract. Skip the pattern, you rebuild what Magento gives you for free. Request parsing, response formatting, ACL checks, throttling. The repository pattern wins when the framework expects it. Fighting Magento on this costs more than just writing the interface. Now, the other side. Two cases where I deliberately skip the pattern. Case 4. Simple read-only lookups. Frontend block, homepage, 3 filters, never called from an API. Featured categories block, 3 lines, add the attributes I need, filter on featured equals 1, and render. To wrap this in a repository, I would need featured category interface, featured category search results interface, featured category repository interface, the implementation, and di.xml preference. Roughly 200 lines of ceremony for 3-line query that runs once per page and is read by exactly one block. Complexity of the solution should match complexity of the problem. 200 lines of boilerplate for 3 lines of business logic is not consistency, it's a noise. It's code your teammates have to read, your linter has to scan, your reviewer has to approve. The pattern is a tool, not a religion. Case 5. Complex aggregation queries. Reporting, dashboard joins across multiple tables with grouping and compound columns. Here is an example of coupon usage report custom collection that is written on top of Amasti Xcoupon extension. It joins to the order table, pulls applied rule IDs, remaps the coupon code filter to point at the joined table, filters where applied rule IDs is not null. This is row then DB select surgery. Column aliases filter remapping where clauses across joined tables. Try routing this through getListSearchCriteria method. Search criteria can't express column aliases. It can't express filter remapping across joins. You either corrupt the contract by stuffing magic field names into it, or you write a repository that pointless wrapper over the exact collection anyway. Search criteria is designed for entity CRUD operations. Reporting queries are not entity CRUD. Use the right tool. Direct resource model or a custom collection with the joins you actually need. So, when do I use it? Multiple consumers that require different query shapes, a real service boundary worth hiding persistence behind, or when the framework expects the contract such as REST and GraphQL. When do I skip it? When the boilerplate is heavier than the logic it wraps, or when the query is shaped wrong for search criteria to begin with. Patterns aren't rules, they are trade-offs with the price. The price of repository is roughly 200 lines of ceremony per entity. That price is worth paying when you get multi-context reuse, a clean boundary, or API exposure in return. It is not worth paying when you get none of those things you are just performing. Best practices for an audience that doesn't exist. Senior engineering isn't about more patterns, it's about matching the pattern to the problem. Questions for the comments? Where do you draw the line? Repository everywhere or selective? I want to hear your disagreements specifically. See you on Tuesday.